Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and today we're going to take a look at the Fresh Monkey Fiction Operation Monster Force Sleepwalker Crimson Moon Division. There it is. This is number 7, I believe, in Roman numerals. There we go. We got some pretty nice artwork here. Um, I guess it's a photo, not so much an artwork. We're going to take a look at this. This is now technically the 5th figure that I'll be reviewing, but the 3rd in this wave. The first 2 were just the Joe Fest exclusives, all right? On the back, we have a nice little bio that talks about them. You can see the actual figure, and then you have the awesome cross-sell. It opens up like a book, and there's a comic panel, and every single one of these that gives a little description about the actual figure. And then here we have the actual figure, and again, this is a Crimson Moon, so you know I'm a G.I. Joe collector, so of course I brought up some of the Crimson figures because you might want to mix this with your Crimson Guardsmen, your whole Crimson crew for G.I. Joe. I'm not sure what everyone's doing this. Not everyone's going to be using this for Monster Force or Operation Monster Force. Some people might want to fill in some G.I. Joe stuff, but we're going to take a look at this. So far, I have been very impressed with these figures, and we're going to see about this. I'm not a big fan of the weapons from what I've seen, but we're going to take a look and we'll go more into it. But anyway, let's get into this because no one wants to look at me for all that long. But before we do, please take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop a Operation Monster Force video. Now let's get to this. Okay, so I got this out here, and I gotta say there's a lot of stuff. It's gonna be a little overwhelming because a lot of it are just little pieces that you plug stuff in to extend the cables or different things like that. So first off, we'll take a look at the stand. It says Operation Monster Force. It is shaped like a tombstone. It's all beat up, just like the other ones. 2 pegs, so you can either have it behind them if you want it for something like that, or you can lay it down. It says Sleepwalker on the front, 2 pegs, so you can stand it. If you're familiar with the channel, you know I don't like stands. 6-inch figures, for the most part, can stand on their own. All right, so let's take a look at everything that this thing does come with, and we'll start off with the hand. So on the figure, it comes with just the C-cupping hands, all right, that you can use for grabbing. He does have the knuckle dusters. Now, rather than highlighting that, they just put like a little circle around it. So we're going to have 2 open hands here. All right, the 2 grabbing hands. And they just put a little bit of detail on it. It looks like they're the exact same gloved hands that came with the Delta Red. We're going to have our 2 punching hands. So again, you can see that they have this Kevlar on the knuckles. But I don't think there's anything different. They just highlighted the circle right there. Then we get our trigger fingers, which you obviously need, whether you're using these weapons or if you replace them. We're going to have multiple blast effects. Now, these are the same blast effects that came with the other ones, except these are just in all red. Don't seem to make a lot of sense if they're going to be shooting out of a gun, but maybe if you have some sort of cannon, it might be fine. Again, maybe this thing or this gun, actually, this gun right here, that's what it's supposed to be for. So anyway, you do have the kind of the cloud, but they didn't paint it, so it's just all red translucent. Here we have the bigger version of it, and then we have the longer extended. So there's no color on this one, unlike the other ones that actually I don't have any out right now, where the color changes. So those I think look actually a little bit better. Now this here is for the different guns here. Now this is not something I've seen yet. It's kind of like a ray gun that's kind of shooting out. You can see that you're going to kind of plug it right in through there. I would assume that's how these things are supposed to go together. So I think we're going to plug it in like that when we get to that point. And then on this one here, it looks like it just plugs directly into one of the weapons. All right. So we have a backpack. It's the first backpack that I'm looking at. A lot of different ports, a lot of different holes so we can put other ports in. The detail on it, it definitely looks like it is weathered. All right. Nice silver that really makes it pop. Now this is something that if you're going to use this with your G.I. Joes, it could be something that's working with Dr. Mindbender, maybe the Mole Rats. But they did do, I think, a pretty good job with the detail in it, and obviously the color, and just making it look like it's worn. That's the one thing that they did do. I will say that the first two figures that I reviewed in this line, they definitely feel like more military aspects, where the weapons in here were definitely not designed by Gridiron or anyone associated with Gridiron, because they will be doing their weapons going forward. All right, so we have this badge here, or I guess it's not a pauldron. It just goes around the bicep, and it has their skull logo, which looks like little sickles. I'm sure someone will tell me what it is. The little rivets of silver really make it pop, and the armband looks really good, where you kind of have the what would be the material throughout the middle, and then just the gray around it. So it really is going to make that thing pop. We have a bunch of tubes. And when I say a bunch of tubes, I mean a bunch of tubes in all different lengths. Now, I can say that is something that I really do like, because I think with most of us, most people watching as like G.I. Joe collectors, the tubes that sometimes they get aren't long enough. This better be long enough, and there's two of them. And then we have two in between. So again, these are going to plug in right here. And again, you can pick whatever size you want. And then they're going to plug into, I believe they plug into the guns somewhere. Somewhere we're going to make all of this work. We're going to learn this all together. And these things are very pliable, right? And they're not like your typical rubber tube. So yeah, I don't think you have to worry about it breaking. Here we have what looks to be like a landmine. Whatever it is. We're going to have to do a little bit of research, I think. But I didn't really see too much on there, but maybe I'll read through everything that it is. But it does have a plug here. So, however it works, we're going to figure this all out, right? So there's another piece for, I believe, one of the hoses where it's going to plug directly in. And I love just the wear on it. The wash that they put on here that really makes it look like it's worn. I do think it really goes a long way here. But I think this is, if I remember correctly, when they were showing some of the stuff off, it's made so you can kind of do whatever you want. All right. So here's a double connector here. It's got just a little bit of red paint, but again, the wear that just makes it look like it's been around forever. And we just got a whole bunch of these little piping, little just tubes and everything. We have a smoke effect that gets lost, but it's in the other two. So I think this is going to be with every figure that comes with a weapon. All right, translucent, looks good. Again, just all these little pieces that I guess you're just going to have to play with. I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do what they want you to do. Okay? Feels really weird trying to review something like that. That is to extend it so we can extend certain things. Like that. Plug something else on the other side. Who knows? All right. So we'll take a look at this gun first. And I'm not really sure what their role is. All right. Nice looking wear, but I hate the way this gun looks. Clearly it's some sort of ray gun. It has 2 ports for 2 different blast effects. A nice red on it, so it does look good. Alright, this really reminds me of the stuff that Fist came with. Uh, really weird wash on certain things. It looked good. Now this is straight. The weapon is not. Actually, this one's pretty brittle. This one, I mean, it's not going to break. I mean, you have to put a lot of force on it. And then we have this AK-47 looking figure weapon. No removable magazine. This really reminds me of stuff that Fist came with. If you know what Fist is, I did a review. You can check it out. So, it's a straight weapon. Has a little bit of give. I could definitely see this breaking. The stock here is actually fairly soft. It is just a weird looking AK-47 somewhat laser rifle, but it has a magazine. So you have your port for blast effects. You got the handle, which I do like. All right. So it looks decent. A port here where we're going to be able to plug in one of our tubes. That's also going to go to his backpack. So it just makes me ask, like, what is this thing supposed to be for? They ended up bringing on Gridiron. They're doing all their weapons. And again, when I talk about, maybe these figures right here, Red Delta and Van Helsing, it feels like maybe they went, all right, we've already have this all done. We're going to continue to go with it, but we're going to go in a completely different way with our upcoming weapons because I just don't think they look that great. All right, so this is one of the helmets that he comes with. Has some sort of gas mask. Eyes look good. It's more or less, I think, to hide who they are. All right, you get the nice wear on the helmet. That silver really makes it pop. And to be 100% honest, it really gives you 1940s German feel to it. All right. Now this one here, he's not in any of the solicitations that I can see. So this, if you go back to the Palitoy Action Force line, this is a Red Shadows helmet. So that is what that mark is. And if anyone knows what Fresh Monkey Fiction is doing, they're really leaning heavy into that for another line that they're doing. All right. So if you want to just create this, make it go to your G.I. Joe figures, you want to recreate that Palitoy Action Force line, here's the first figure you can do it. Now, ports for some of these some of these tubing, as we can see, I think it's just going to plug directly into there. Now, maybe that's supposed to give it air. It's hard to tell. On the back, you got a red, blue, and yellow. Again, they went really far with the washes and the paint. All right, so now we'll take a look at this figure. And this is the first figure that I'm reviewing of this wave that does not have a plate carrier. So he just has this overlay here. I don't know if it comes off. Looking at it, it doesn't look like it's supposed to. All right, so you can quickly take a look at his helmet. I do like the way this looks. It's got the vents for the gas mask. I love the white. And then you just have these red eyes. Like, you never see what's behind them. Black running across like a little shark fin there. Now, he can look up. He can look down. It's on a neck joint, and on a ball joint. So it can turn like that. We have a nice T-pose. Bicep swivel. There's your pinless joints. You got your hands. Hands pop off that easily, but they don't feel loose. I'll just throw the trigger hands on them right now. Same with over here. I think the bicep swivel has been the hardest thing for me to get to move. And I don't even know if it really matters that much because the shoulder is constantly turning. But that is supposed to, I think I'm going to have to heat that one up. Pinless elbow. Now he has the diaphragm cut, but obviously you can't see it. But it looks like he can move enough here because I think this is separate. I think that's actually separate. So it allows you to use the diaphragm. You can turn that way. So he has a maneuverability if you need. We're still giving a look that everything is the same. Here you can see the buttons that he has. That, like silver, just makes it pop. He's got a nice belt with his belt buckle. There's his insignias again. He has the Jean-Claude Van Damme. Once this moves, I guess it works pretty good. It does have drop-down hips. Now, drop-down hips I'm not a huge fan of, but they do help for sitting positions if they're sitting in a vehicle. You have a thigh cut right there. Again, if it will not do it, don't try and be He-Man. Heat it up. That one is extremely stiff. Oh, there we go. As I speak and it just shifts. Alright. Double pinless knees. And do we have a boot cut? You better believe we have a boot cut right there. So there's your boot cut. And then your ankle rockers. And I'm doing this because, you know, this is a new line. There's always new people coming into a line, into collecting. I want to show off everything, even if it is just for a short second. I like the fact that the boots actually have tread. So if you're playing out in the dirt or whatever and you want to recreate what looks like steps, you can for your photography. Alright, so everything now seems to be moving smoothly. You may want to heat these up when you first get them just to see how they are. Alright, so let's pop off the head. Now, the neck here is meant to come off. So if you want to put a figure on that is a specific color and you don't want to hide the neck, and you can take this off. Some come off easier than others. With the red Delta, or Delta Red, I was having all kinds of issues with it popping off. So quickly we'll take a look at this helmet here. And these things are definitely meant to be army builders. All right, so you have 3 different helmets, and you can just, you know, change them however you want it to be. So this looks pretty good. I'm gonna grab this Viper, and then you can see how close the color matches. And I think it's actually pretty close to that Viper vest. The red down here, not so much. And definitely not the Crimson Guard. But you're not really going to notice. If someone's pointing it out, yeah, it may be an issue. So, you know, you do whatever you need to do. All right, and then we have an Alley Viper. They match close enough that if that's what you want to do, you can quickly do that. There we go. So there's the neck that popped off. So that's what I'm talking about. All of their figures are going to have necks that are going to pop off, so you can change them out however you want. If you want to have Van Helsing in disguise, you know, and then he's taking off the helmet, you want him in this suit, you can do that. But sometimes these things are difficult to get off. There we go. If you watched my last video, you could see how many times that had popped off. I want to pop this head on, the Red Shadow's head. So I'm not gonna lie, it's the one that I don't know. There is something about knowing that it is an old looking figure, that it does something. It just kind of pops. All right. So the backpack, I haven't seen how any of their backpacks work. I did throw on Starduster's jetpack, and it came Well, this one actually feels decent, but it is loose. All right. I'm wondering if these backpacks are any better. So that fits on actually really nice. And it just slid in really good. It's not too tight and it's not loose at all. So I gotta say I'm pretty happy with how that feels. All right. So here we have his AK-47. I don't know what you want to call it. I'm not a big fan of it. I can't imagine that I will be using it too often. But I do like the idea of the backpack. All right. So you got this front handle here. Not impressed with these guns. I can tell you, I can't imagine that I will be really using them. Now, how well does he stand? That's a whole other story. I'll plug this back in here. Now, I feel like he doesn't have anywhere to put his other weapons. I really like to keep things on their person if possible. So, you can get this in a firing position. I'd have to do a little bit more work to do a better one. But I kind of want to just show you what you get right away. You can see how long these hoses are. I really do like that. It'd be awesome if they fit Dr. Mindbender stuff or the Techno Viper, because that's kind of an issue when it comes to Joe. But all these different ports here, so we can change the way or add to it. So I guess we can kind of take this, throw that right on the back, and plug it in there. This helmet doesn't have it, and nor does this one. So I'd assume it's some sort of either oxygen form. There's actually probably in the little bio that I didn't read. All right. So we'll take this big blast effect. We're going to throw it on here. And we'll see how well this works. And just by looking at it here, we'll go with the smaller one. So it really doesn't come all the way out like you would think that it's supposed to. So I'm not really sure how we're supposed to get that to fit on. Right? Where this one here just has a plug. We're going to plug that in, shooting out like that. This one here, I'm not so sure what we can do with it. Because even when I plug it in here, this way, it doesn't really fit all the way through. So we'll have to figure out, well, you'll have to figure out how you want to do it. But all these different pieces, it's going to allow you to make different devices, I guess. I like that you have this tubing here. And this is, to me, kind of becomes world building. Especially if you have Dr. Mindbender stuff and you're going to kind of route some tubes around it, some wires, if you have some chambers like I have. But all in all, a nice looking figure. We have to get some AK-47s for him. Oh, I have a whole bunch. But yeah, lots of different ports. Lots of different stuff here. And again, it does look really good. But these are the types of weapons that I am not too thrilled with. Not something that I need. But you do get a lot of stuff. But I know there's going to be a lot of people that's exactly how they want to use them. They want to throw the gas mask on and play with it that way. Again, your toys, you do what you need to do, and no one's taking them from you. Okay, and last, really quick here. Take this guy, grab a Crimson Guard, and look how they look together. I mean, they look pretty good together. roughly the exact same height. He might be a little bit taller, it seems, but all in all, it looks actually pretty damn good together. Now, I am not sure. It's probably been a long time since I popped this head off, if it even comes off. So I think this neck is going to be way too big for this head. Guess I could use any of the other heads. So the neck is too small. Or the neck is too long. I wonder if we can use maybe... That one kind of works. So if you have a extra Crimson Viper, that would work. Especially if we throw his little scarf on him. It kind of hides how long the neck is. But the gas mask does a really good job. So this actually could work out really well for the storyline that's actually being told with G.I. Joe Energon, the Energon universe. So, all right. Let's wrap it up. Okay, so my final thought or first thought on this Sleepwalker Crimson Moon Division figure is that I really like his look. I love the fact that he can be placed back to be a pallet toy figure, but his weapons are just, well, not for me. But I understand that they're going for something different. I like a little bit more of a military aspect. I don't go full military, obviously, as I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan. But these just look weird, and I kind of discussed it. Making an AK-47 that is also supposed to be some other sort of weapon is just weird. Star Wars tried doing it, and to me, it just doesn't work. But the aesthetics of this figure look amazing. I absolutely love it. He'll fit with your Crimson Guard, or he'll fit with their Sleepwalkers, which is part of the Forgotten King's army. All right, so there you go. That is the Sleepwalker Crimson Moon Division. I like the figure. I like the backpack. I like the stuff that it comes with. I don't like the guns. That's just me. I'm okay with some sci-fi stuff. And I understand this is a sci-fi line. I want a little bit more of a military aspect to it. I also think the guns just look kind of corny. I'm okay with this one here. This is the smaller one. But the one that looks like an AK-47, but then it's not an AK-47, kind of reminds me of Andor for Star Wars, where they have like these laser AK-47s. Don't make it look like a real world weapon and be some sort of like laser rifle or gas. I don't even know what it is. But anyway, it's your imagination. You do what you want. It's just how I'm doing things, right? So, figure is good. And again, I really like the red shadows look. I think it's actually pretty damn good. So, it's up to you. If you want to get the figures, get the figures. I think they're really good figures, and I've mentioned that you have to get them at BBTS, Big Bad Toy Store, $37 at a high price point. Has a lot of accessories, and I feel weird when I'm trying to review something like that because they're just little trinkets that are kind of, you don't really know how to review it. For me, I don't know how to review it. Maybe you're doing much better, and this might be possible. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Please, if you like this type of content, you like this Operation Monster Force, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and then hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop one of these. And again, I did this where my head is being cut off and makes me feel awkward. So anyway, and they stand up pretty damn well. I really like that. Okay, I'm going to get out of here, but don't go anywhere because what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave one of the Delta Red figures right here, and down here will be the playlist of all the Operation Monster Force stuff that I've done. Take care.